everybody. In this video, I'm going to be going through more detail of how to estimate the budget you'll need on TikTok to get through the learning phases. I'm going to go through what budget you'll need to get through add to cart optimization and initiate checkout and ultimately purchase optimization, and what to expect in terms of metrics and all that good stuff. So let's dive in. So open in front of me, I have the TikTok calculator sheet. What you'll want to do is duplicate the sheet so that you can edit in your own numbers. So you'll have view access to this sheet. Once you duplicate it, you'll be able to go in and enter in your own metrics. And I also have instructions on here as well to follow along, but I'm going to walk you through the steps. So this is a complement to the video I just presented that was on the whiteboard that showed you that you needed 50 add to carts a week in order to optimize. And then you need to make sure that you're getting that 50 on each ad set. So it's really no matter what you're optimizing for. When you first start a TikTok ad account, like I mentioned, I always start by optimizing for add to cart, or if you're not e-commerce, just the highest level in the conversion funnel. Once I'm consistently getting 50 add to carts per week on an ad set, and I get to 1,000 add to carts total in the lifetime of my ad account, then I can feel confident that the pixel is properly seasoned and to move on to optimize for initiate checkout. Same thing. I need 50 initiate checkouts to optimize, get 1,000 initiate checkouts, ideally on the lifetime of the pixel. And then ultimately you could start optimizing for purchase, which is where you're going to see the most success. But you do have to season the pixel. And that's what I've mentioned. Like, one of the biggest mistakes marketers make is they try to go straight for purchase optimization. And I have to be like, no. Start by optimizing for add to carts. That's going to be the best way to succeed long-term on TikTok. It's if you go through the steps of properly seasoning the pixel. And I developed these calculators to show you exactly how much budget you'll need to get through each optimization phase and to see what metrics you're going to get in correlation with that budget. So let's begin at the top of the sheet. So this first sheet is all about add to cart optimization. So you just started your TikTok ad account. You're going to set up your ad set, optimizing for add to cart. When I first start a TikTok ad account, I just like to have one ad set, very broad interests, categories layered in, typically very broad. And the reason I want one ad set is because I don't want my budget spread across too many ad sets. It's going to make it that much more difficult and that much more expensive to get to 50 add to carts on the ad set per week. So in yellow, those are the cells that you are going to want to edit and enter in your own information. So in this example, I have $2.50 as your average cost per add to cart. If this is your first time advertising on TikTok, you may not know what your cost per add to cart is yet. If you've already spent some money on TikTok, then you can look at your TikTok ads dashboard and see, okay, in the lifetime of my account, what was my average cost per add to cart? Just give you a baseline. Alternatively, you can go into your Facebook ads manager, which is what I do for my clients. And I look at our Facebook average cost per add to cart. So you would take the amount spent, let's say in the last 30 days, divide that by the total add to carts that you're seeing on Facebook to get your cost per add to cart. You can also set up cost per add to cart in your columns on Facebook to get that number directly. So for this example, I entered in $2.50 cost per add to cart, but yours may be lower or higher based off of this scenario. I would say on average this is pretty low. On TikTok, I usually see for e-commerce clients cost per add to cart when we first start out between $5 and $20. But for this example, I took some of my clients' data and they had a $2.50 cost per add to cart on Facebook. So that's what I'm going to enter in here. Now this 50, so now to the next line, I'm down on B4 or B3, sorry. I'm looking at number of add to carts needed per ad set per week. Now this is always the rule of 50. This is static. You need 50 add to carts per week per ad set to optimize. So given that you have a $2.50 cost per add to cart, you are going to need a $125 budget on your ad set in order to exit learning per week. And then I just divide this by 7 to get the minimum daily ad set budget. So $17 minimum per ad set in order to get to 50 add to carts per week on the ad set to optimize. And that is given that you have a $2.50 cost per add to cart. So if you have a much higher cost per add to cart, let's just say it's $15, then you're going to need a $750 budget needed to exit learning. So if you don't know your cost per add to cart on TikTok yet, I also came up with a cost per add to cart estimator. So if we go down to B8, this is where you're going to enter the percentage of traffic that adds something to cart on your site. Now you could take this from Facebook again by taking total number of outbound clicks from your Facebook ads and divide that by your add to carts to get the percentage of people who come to your site that end up adding to cart. You can also look at your overall site data by looking at Facebook by taking site traffic divided by add to carts to get the percentage of traffic that adds to cart from your ads. If you're running ads on TikTok already, then you can look at total outbound clicks on TikTok Ads Manager and divide that by the add to carts that you're seeing on TikTok Ads Manager in the last 30 days. CPMs, you're going to want to enter in your CPMs that you're seeing on TikTok. I put $5 just because it's the average I'm seeing across my clients right now, but maybe higher, maybe lower. This is going to be largely dependent on your targeting selections, country, age range, auction dynamics, of course, competition. So I would say if you don't have no idea what to put first, but you can keep the $5 just so you can get an average. And then once you start spending for a couple of days on TikTok, enter in the actual CPM that you're getting on your campaigns. The third thing that you need to enter into this calculator is the ad click-through rate on cell B10. So this is essentially the number of people who are leaving TikTok and going to your site from the ads. So across my clients, 1% is the average click-through rate I'm seeing. Anything below 1%, I would say try to improve your ad creatives to get them to be more clickable, have a better offer. Some things I like to do is have an offer use code TikTok to get 20% off your purchase, something like that to encourage people to actually stop scrolling on TikTok and to get to your site. So ad click-through rate, you can use 1% to start. You can also enter in your Facebook click-through rate if you know it. And then once you start spending for a couple days, enter in the actual click-through rate you're seeing on your TikTok ads. Now, if you're above a 2%, just know you're industry leading. My best clients are getting a 2% and above on their click-through rate on TikTok ads. It's absolutely possible. I would say if you're getting between a 1% and 2%, you're doing great. Anything below 1%, try to improve your ad creatives. So all the cells that aren't in white, so on B11 right now, that means do not edit the cells. These are based off of the editable cells, the yellow ones. So this is your cost per click based off of the CPMs you're seeing on TikTok as well as the click-through rate of your ad creatives. So here's your cost per click. In this scenario, it's 50 cents. And then this calculator will estimate your traffic per 1,000 impressions. So if you spend $5 on TikTok ads, that means you're going to reach 1,000 people because the CPMs are $5. Click-through rate of 1%, which would mean that you're getting 10 people to your site. And then based off of the percentage of traffic that adds something to cart, the next cell, which is B13, will estimate how many people are actually going to add to cart from your TikTok ads. So in this example, I have 20% of total traffic is going to add something to cart. And once you start spending on TikTok ads, you'll understand what that exact percentage is when you divide your outbound clicks by your add to carts to get that percentage. And then based off of the CPMs and the number of people we're going to add to cart per 1,000 impressions, here is your estimated average cost per add to cart. So that $250. I'm going to change it to $250 at the top because I forgot. So you can either estimate your cost per add to cart here this way, or put your average cost per add to cart that you're getting on Facebook or TikTok ads and put it here. But I do want to include an estimator here. If you had no idea what your cost per add to cart was, or even what a baseline would be given your current site metrics, this is how you would calculate it. So moving on, now we want to estimate what is our cost per purchase based off of the number of add to carts, because that's something I get questions about all the time. People are like, well, I know you're telling me that I need to optimize for add to carts when I'm starting out on TikTok ads, but how do I find out if these add to carts are actually converting and if I'm just wasting my money on TikTok ads? So This is an estimator, which will help you get a better idea of what your cost per purchase is. Also, I talk about in later videos the ways that I look at metrics beyond TikTok Ads Manager to look at cost per purchase. I like to look at post-purchase survey data like Inquire, as well as third-party pixel tracking like the Triple Whale Pixel. There's a lot of solutions out there for that. I'm going to be going through my two favorites later in this course. But I want to show you a really quick and easy way that doesn't require any third-party tracking to see what your cost per purchase is estimated to be when you are starting out and optimizing for cost per add to cart. So based on your cost per add to cart, which you are going to enter here in yellow in B17, then you want to enter in your add to cart to purchase percentage. So this is the percentage of people who have added to cart that end up purchasing. So in this case, I put 50%, which is on the higher side. So that would be, I would say, more like impulse buy, people who have added something to cart that are more likely to purchase. The higher the average order value, probably the lower that percentage is going to be in terms of people who are kind of window shopping and adding to cart and ultimately end up purchasing. And then to find this in Facebook Ads Manager, if you want a baseline, you're going to take your total add to carts last 30 days in Facebook Ads Manager and divide that by the total number of purchases in the last 30 days. So if you had 100 add to carts in the last 30 days, you would divide that by 50 purchases to get the 50% add to cart to purchase ratio. Or sorry, I think I flipped that around. You would take the 50 purchases, divide that by the 100 add to carts to get the add to cart to purchase percentage. Quick little coffee break there. Okay, let's move on to the weekly metrics. So the budget needed weekly per ad set to exit learning. This is based off cell B4 that we calculated before. This is based off your total number add to carts and that you need 50 add to carts per week in order to optimize. And then down here, your CPMs, you're going to enter in the CPMs you're seeing on TikTok, your click-through rate, percentage of traffic that adds link to cart, percentage, the add to cart to purchase percentage. And so once you enter in all those metrics, it's going to spit out your estimated metrics per week, which is pretty cool. So based off of these metrics, you would see if you're spending $125 per ad set, you would see 25,000 impressions on your ads, 250 people to your site. And then based off of that 20% of traffic adds a link to cart, you get 50 add to carts a week. Your estimated cost per add to cart would be $2.50. Estimated weekly purchases would be $25. And your estimated average cost per purchase would be $5. So just to reiterate the goal here, the goal is to get to 50 add to carts per week per ad set in order to optimize the ad set and to get to the learning phase. And then ultimately, before you start optimizing for initiate checkout, which would mean that you're turning off your add to cart optimized ad set and launching a new ad set that's optimized for initiate checkout. You'll do that once you're consistently getting 50 add to carts per week on your ad set. And then in the lifetime of the pixel, you're getting 1,000 add to carts total before you start optimizing for initiate checkout. Now let's move on to initiate checkout optimization. So let's just say you've had no problem getting 50 add to carts per week based off of the budget you'll need to get to 50 add to carts per week. And then you get to 1,000 add to carts in the lifetime of the pixel. Now, of course, you can get more than 50 add to carts per week. If you want to speed up this learning phase, you don't have to stop yourself at, I'm going to get exactly 50 add to carts per week. You can double or triple the minimum daily budget that you'll calculate to get to 50 add to carts per week so that you can get through the learning phase faster. That's typically what I'll do for my clients. This is just the bare minimum to get to 50 add to carts a week so that you can get to that 1,000 add to carts on the pixel and move on to initiate checkout optimization. So the initiate checkout optimization calculator is extremely similar to the add to cart one. The only difference is that you're going to enter in your average cost per initiate checkout that you'll get from Facebook if you haven't been running TikTok ads on initiate checkout. You also see that some of these percentages are a bit different. Like you're going to need the percentage of traffic that initiates checkout as opposed to the percentage of traffic that adds to cart. So this, you could also take your total outbound clicks and, you're going to take your total initiate checkouts and divide that by your total of outbound clicks to get the percentage of traffic that initiates checkout. Enter in your same thing, CPM, click-through rate. And then you're also going to need your initiate checkout to purchase ratio. So I'm looking at cell B18. And so what this is going to tell people is initiate checkout, just to make sure I'm being clear with the terms, is when someone reaches the checkout page of your site, but they don't end up purchasing yet. So they're entering in their credit card details, their address, but they haven't ended up purchasing yet. I typically see that the percentage is really high from people who reach the initiate checkout phase to actually ending up purchasing. So 50% or more is pretty common. And then you can also get this number by going to Facebook and taking your total initiate checkouts by your number of purchases to get that percentage of people that initiate checkout who end up purchasing. So that's how you get that ratio. And, take your number of purchases and divide it by initiate checkouts, just flipping them around in my head. So that would be 50% of people who start the checkout process end up purchasing. And that will help calculate back your estimated cost per purchase as well, so that you can know while you're still optimizing for add to cart and initiate checkout if your TikTok ads are profitable. And then at the bottom also tells you the budget needed per ad set to exit learning. So in this case, with these metrics, you would need $500 a week in order to exit learning phase because your average cost per initiate checkout is $10 and you need 50 initiate checkouts per ad set per week to optimize. And then you enter in your CPMs, your ad click-through rate, the percentage of traffic that initiates checkout, and then ultimately that initiate checkout to purchase percentage. And then it will spit back all the metrics in terms of what's going to be your average cost per initiate checkout, what's your estimated weekly purchases based off of that, and your estimated cost per purchases based off of those metrics. So I wanted to stop here to say a point. The most important thing with seasoning the pixel is getting to that 50 conversions or add to carts, initiate checkouts, all considered conversion a week per ad set. If you are struggling to get to 50 initiate checkouts per week, then you should go back to the cost per ad, or you should go back to the add to cart optimization and focus on that. You don't want to sacrifice getting the 50 conversion events a week over moving on to initiate checkout or purchase, for instance. Like, it's much better to consistently getting 50 add to carts a week on an ad set than it is to move on to initiate checkout and only getting like five initiate checkouts a week based off of your budget. So I've had clients where we ran on add to cart optimization successfully for months and we're able to be really profitable. So it's not to say that you have to move on to initiate checkout and purchase in order to be successful. That is the ultimate goal. But I also understand that if your conversion rate's low and your cost per click is high, your CTR is low, it's going to take too much budget to get through that initiate checkout optimization that maybe you have budgeted for, which is completely fine. Like, if you can successfully get 50 add to carts a week on an ad set, you are going to be in good shape, in much better shape than if you try to force the initiate checkout campaign to work. I would say I would rather you run on the add to cart optimization, getting 50 add to carts a week, and then use that time to focus on the variables you can control, like your landing page conversion rate, your click-through rate on your ads, making sure that your audiences are expanded enough so you're not getting hit with super high CPMs. And then once you start getting much lower cost per add to carts, then maybe try again to go to the cost per initiate or get to the initiate checkout optimization. So as I've mentioned before, once you get to 1,000 initiate checkouts on the lifetime of your pixel, that's when you can successfully move on to purchase optimization. Alrighty, so the final step in this is optimizing for purchase optimization And I did want to say a couple things before diving into this calculator, because I know throughout this I've said get 50 conversions on the ad set each week in order for it to optimize, which is so important. And ideally, you can get 1,000 add to carts and 1,000 initiate checkouts for optimizing for purchase. I've worked with a lot of clients on TikTok for the last couple of years, and I've seen that going through this pixel seasoning process and being patient with it and putting enough budget towards it to fully get through this optimization process laid a really great foundation for growth for these clients, where by the time like Q4 came around and we're ready to spend a lot of budget on holiday, we already had such a seasoned pixel that it was very easy to spend 5K a day, 10K a day on TikTok ads because the pixel was really seasoned and it knew exactly who to target the ads to, since it had all this past data of who's added to cart and who has initiated checkouts on our ads before. So with that said, I do want to say, I wouldn't shy against, well, how do I say this? It's okay to test initiate checkout and purchase optimization. Even if you haven't exactly gotten to 1,000 add to carts or 1,000 initiate checkouts, if you're trying to optimize for purchase, I would say definitely try to get 1,000 add to carts on the pixel before moving on to initiate checkout. But I have had clients where once we've gotten through that add to cart optimization of getting 1,000 add to carts on the lifetime of the pixel, and we were consistently getting 50 add to carts a week, I just tested it. I went straight to purchase optimization, and it ended up working out okay. There's other clients where I've tried this with, and I realized, no, I can't skip initiate checkout optimization. I need to run some campaigns with initiate checkouts and get at least 50 initiate checkouts per week per ad set and run that for a few weeks before going to purchase. But I have skipped initiate checkout just in full honesty before on some clients, and it has worked once we've gotten to 1,000 add to carts and we're getting 50 add to carts a week on that ad set. So I just want to say that just to know, like, there is flexibility in this. I would say where there isn't any flexibility, it's like you need to get to 50 conversions a week on your ad set in order for it to optimize. That is a given. So no matter what, that should be your ultimate goal on any level of optimization, but don't be waiting around for months and thinking, oh, if only I could test purchase, but I'm waiting for 1,000. Like, go ahead and test it. Doesn't hurt to test it for a couple of weeks. See if it's performing. See if you're getting 50 purchases a week. One of the signs that you started optimizing for purchase too early is that it'll stop spending and you'll get very little purchases on your ad set. So if you get 1,000 add to carts and you're like, okay, I'm gung ho, I really want to optimize for purchase. You set up your purchase optimized ad set and you are just getting no purchases and your metrics are looking really bad. Stop spending. That's a sign that, okay, my pixel isn't as seasoned as I thought it was. I need to go back to initiate checkout or add to cart to season my pixel a bit more before jumping to purchase. Like I said, for other clients, especially ones that have very like TikTok viral products, they got a lot of good traction out of the gate with add to cart. I was just like, I'm going to try purchase optimization. And because we had such great creatives that were really high converting, we had no problem when we switched from going from add to cart optimized ad sets to purchase. So I do want to throw that out there. There is some flexibility here. So I'm always going to be honest about what my experience is on the platform. Of course, I want to give you my best practices. And if I was training a media buyer, these are the exact things I would say to them of how to think about it and how to optimize. So just keep those things in mind. So let's move on to purchase optimization in the calculator. Now, purchase optimization is the best optimization goal that you can get to for e-commerce. I see that once my clients are able to optimize for purchase, that's when we're really able to scale on the platform, when we really see that ROAS or CPA look really strong. It's kind of like the light in the tunnel. You kind of have to buy the data ahead of time when you're optimizing for add to cart. Things are looking a little shaky, not perfect. But once you're optimizing for purchase and those campaigns are going and you're getting 50 purchases a week on each ad set, that's when you really see the value of TikTok and when you really see that this is a good platform to advertise on. I think people give up sometimes a little too early and they only will try add to cart optimization or they try purchase optimization right out of the gate, which we all know is not a good thing to do. They don't see results. But if you go through that pixel seasoning process and you're patient, and then you're finally able to optimize for purchase, it's just the best feeling ever. Because especially when I'm working with clients, I'm like, yes, we got there, it's working. And then you can just run on purchase optimization forever. You never even have to think about add to carts or initiate checkouts ever again. So in this calculator, set up very similar to the other ones for add to cart optimization, initiate checkout. Essentially, you would enter in your average cost per purchase, which you can get from Facebook or your website. If you don't have experience with TikTok ads yet and don't know your TikTok cost per purchase. And then it's going to tell you the purchases needed per ad set in order to optimize, which we all know is 50 by now. So that means you'll need, if you have a $20 cost per purchase and you need 50 purchases a week to optimize, your budget's going to need to be $1,000. And that would be your minimum ad set budget. So 1,000 divided by 7. So if you don't know your cost per purchase on TikTok, or if you can't estimate it from your Facebook cost per purchase or the cost per purchase you know from other channels, I also found this way is a nice way to think about it. So essentially in this calculator, you would enter in the percentage of traffic that purchases, AKA like the conversion rate on your site from paid social traffic. So for most of my clients, this can be anywhere between like 2% and 4%. So I picked kind of on the lower side, 2.5% conversion rate, which I would say is pretty average across e-commerce, around 2 to 3%. CPMs, as we know, that's determined by TikTok. So I put $5. That's the average I'm seeing right now. 1% click-through rate. That would mean that you're going to have a 50-cent cost per click on your ad based off of a $5 CPM and a 1% click-through rate. Per 1,000 impressions on the ads, you'll get 10 people to your site if you have a 1% click-through rate. And then this is your estimated purchases per 1,000 impressions. So because this is only for 1,000 impressions and we only have a 2.5% purchase rate, then it's going to be 0.25 purchases for every session. And then that equates back to the estimated cost per purchase of $20, which is taking your CPM and dividing that by your estimated purchases per 1,000 impressions. So this is one way to estimate your cost per purchase. I find this to be super helpful. Another way is to look at your cost per initiate checkout based off of what you've seen from your initiate checkout campaigns or what you've seen on initiate checkout optimization on other platforms, and then take your initiate checkout to purchase rate. So these are the amount of people who have added stuff to their cart, got to the checkout page, started entering their information. How many of those actually reached that initiate checkout stage ended up purchasing? I would say average is could be around 50%, some lower, some higher, but in this example, I'm using 50%. And then this would be the way that you would estimate your cost per purchase based off of those two variables. And then lastly, here's our weekly metrics calculator again, which will show budget needed weekly per ad set to exit learning. So this is based off of the calculation up here where we estimated, okay, if I have a $20 average cost per purchase, I know I need 50 purchases a week per ad set. Then I'm going to get around 200,000 impressions on my ads. If my budget's $1,000 a week, I'm going to get 2,000 people to my site in a week, which means I'm going to get 50 purchases if my conversion rate is 2.5 with a $20 estimated cost per purchase. So I would encourage you to play with this calculator, enter in different variables, see that how if you up your click-through rate, how that will help your conversion rate. If you up that, how that's going to help your ads dramatically. Of course, your average order value is going to your average order value will determine whether that CPA is profitable, and of course the margins on your products too, to see if you can support that CPA on the platform. So play around with it, the variables in yellow to enter in your own data to see how it reflects for your brand. But ultimately, I think what this shows too is that it's so important to consolidate with TikTok. I would say even more than Facebook ads. Like when you start out, there is no shame in having one campaign and one ad set. That is really the best way to start. The more you spread things out over different ad sets, the more budget you're going to need. And it's actually going to perform worse because all of those learnings are now spread out between a lot of different ad sets. It's going to make it that much harder to get a 50 conversions a week per ad set So when you first start out with add to cart optimization, one campaign, one ad set. And as I've mentioned in other videos, once you start getting going and you're in purchase optimization, then you can start playing with things a bit more, maybe test some lookalikes, interests. But still, on my top spending ad accounts, I maybe have 2-3 ad sets in prospecting. That is it. And they're spending $5K, $10K a day. You do not need to overcomplicate your setup. If anything, it will work against you. Rely on TikTok's automation, rely on their interest categories that they're recommending to you on the ad set level. Really focus on improving the creative so you can get your click-through rate up. And then, of course, the conversion rate on your site with your offers and the effectiveness of your landing pages. And that's how you win with TikTok ads. But before you win with TikTok ads, you have to season the pixel. It's an unfortunate part of the process. It can be expensive to season the pixel to get through that add to cart optimization, but it is 100% worth it. If you don't believe me and you want to test it out, if you have a brand new TikTok ad account and you optimize straight for purchase, you'll see what I'm talking about. It will not spend, it will not perform. And like I said, that's when a lot of people just give up on TikTok altogether. So, but you're not one of those people. You know how to season the pixel now. You're going to do it right. You're going to follow these steps and you know your metrics so you can get ahead. Alrighty, hope this lesson was helpful.